So, if you're seeing this, then you probably already know who I am. But on the off chance I get some more Discord followers in here, my name is Jordan Winslow. I am the solo developer behind SCP Dead Letter Protocol and the founder of Liminal Foundation Games. And I am making this video to show off the game and get some feedback on how I should be marketing it. I have the game running in the background here. And essentially, I need to figure out how do I show off all of these features really quickly in bullet points for the Steam page and, make people interested in wish listing this game, right? So I'm just going to show you what I have so far, and then I'll share the marketing copy that I've created. I already posted it on Facebook. It's on the website. I think I need to upload it to the website. It's not live yet. But yeah, so here's the game. Essentially, this is after you've already seen the title screen, you've chosen your character, you've chosen a scenario. The scenario is called a K-class scenario, basically a apocalyptic threat that you're trying to prevent, and that is the thing that is driving the game forward. And you choose one of those threats that kind of sets the overall theme that ties together the main primary objectives that you have as a player. And every time you complete an objective, you see this screen where you will then choose what is the next objective that you want to take on. So there's 8 to 10 different objectives that could show up throughout a game, but you're only going to play through 3 of them, and a 4th one will unlock if you beat 3 of them. That will become the final mission. So I'm just going to choose Siberian Taiga Outpost. All of the sound effects are, if you're hearing them, they are preliminary. But essentially, you choose your mission. It gives you a little briefing, just a few paragraphs of just like, here's what's happening, here's what you need to do. And then you get a briefing document that explains what the objective is, the rewards, if you get any, and consequences, if you get any. So this says you get 200 credits if you do this. This is kind of more to show off the objective system. To show you more of that, I can kind of generate some fake objectives here. Let me show you. So this is another example of an objective that could come up in the game. This is called an entropy objective. This is when bad things are happening and the game is getting more and more difficult as you play. Things like entropy objectives might show up and they give you a deadline. So this one has 5 rounds and it says you need to investigate the containment breach in the medical bay and neutralize all the threats there before 5 rounds, or else you're going to lose this equipment that you have, and you're going to lose 3 stress, which is kind of a big deal because you only have 8. Some characters have more stress capability. I might rename this sanity instead of stress. I was trying to differentiate a little bit from Eldritch Horror, which is the board game that this was inspired by. It has a concept of health and sanity. And I don't know if I want to keep that or not. But and the bigger punishment here is plus 10% entropy. So entropy is kind of the clock on the game that serves multiple purposes. One, it builds tension and it increases the difficulty of the game as you're playing it. So the game kind of scales with you. Each game should only take ideally between like 40 to 60 minutes, depending on, the player. And this entropy helps to kind of ensure that if it reaches 100%, the idea is you still do get a chance at winning that run, but you're going to have to face the final threat of the scenario immediately, the second it reaches 100%. And you're probably not going to be ready for it. It's probably going to kick your ass. It's basically like a boss, and it's going to be way harder if entropy reaches 100% versus if you complete all of the mission objectives you will get kind of a weaker version of that, and it's going to be a lot easier for you to take on and finish the run. Um, so what we have here is the game is based in 4 phases. We're in the player phase right now, and every phase you get some actions that are displayed in the bottom right hand corner, and you can use those actions to do things like travel, like move around the map. You can use them to buy equipment, to heal. There's different locations in the game. They're kind of hidden right now behind these different anomalies. But essentially, every location in the game has these icons in the primary locations, they're considered. So the named locations with these big circles, those are your primary locations where you can go there and you can do special actions. Like you in this one, you can end your turn there for a chance of having an encounter that will give you more defense. You can also get equipment there, as denoted by this icon, and this icon is the shop icon. It means that there's a shop there where you can go and buy things. But because this area has been breached, because it's lost all of its integrity, which is these 3 little bars here, and you can see different locations, like the command center is secure because it has all 3 bars full, whereas the medical bay is in danger of becoming breached because it only has 1 integrity left. Locations that lose all integrity become breached, and so I'll just travel to the security department and show you, right? So I spent an action, so you can see I lost an action point. I spent some movement points, so I basically converted that action into movement points. So I can keep moving and I don't have to spend another action because I have a bunch of movement points left, but I had to spend the action to move at all, right? Normally you're not going to have like 10 movement. I'm just in OP mode right now. But when you go to a location that has a breach, the background gets kind of faded out and it says breach detected. And before you can use that location again for any of its other features, you will need to secure it. And to secure it, you basically have to pay 1,000 credits, which this could change the values of them. And you also have to spend an action, which is kind of even more of a hassle than the credits themselves. So if you secure the location, it'll go back to normal and you can use that location. So now you can see on the map, it's in danger now instead of breach. And so now you can actually do things at this location like shop. And well, that's the only action you have at this particular one. Normally you'll be able to talk to this character as well. You can also fortify a location by spending an action, and that will just increase that danger bar up 1, right? And the idea here is you're kind of going around the facility and you are investigating these anomalies represented by these yellow eyeball cloud things, and you are dealing with these threats represented by the skull icons. And you're at the same time you're doing all of that, you're trying to complete your mission objective, and you're trying to make your character more powerful so that you'll actually be able to deal with these threats as they come up. And so it kind of puts the player in a situation where as entropy is increasing in the game, more of these anomalies are going to show up. Anomalies will count down. They only have a set number of turns before they might turn into a SCP. SCP is like a monster in the game, and they all do bad stuff, right? So when an SCP is in a location like this at the beginning of the next phase, which I'll show you in a minute, the integrity of that location will go down and it will be at risk of you not even being able to perform actions there anymore. So it's a strategic balance of like, I want to complete objectives, I want to get stronger, and I want to protect these locations, but I also need to complete the mission, right? So that's the map, that's movement, that's the action system. You can see the shop here, nothing too fancy, just a regular shop. These items will change, of course. This is just kind of a demo showing off like a bunch of different possible items you can get. So the way items work, I just have them all right now in my inventory. you can you have these slots whenever you open your inventory up, and it's basically just equipment slots. And the game starts with only four of them available. One of them is a weapon. You can only put a weapon in that slot, and you can't equip a weapon in any other slot. And so you'll put a weapon in that one. You'll put some equipment in another one. And as you would imagine, weapons typically increase your ability to do damage. Equipment typically increases your actual skills. Like this one gives you one agility and one defense. And then you have all kinds of other different item types I won't get into, but one of the special types is allies. Allies, I want it to be more thematic than other items in the game because they're actually people, right? So to get allies, you kind of need to impress them in some way. You need to have certain stats, usually, for an ally to join your team, and then you have to pay their cost in addition to those stats. Sometimes you'll get allies as a result of an encounter or a decision that you make, but you can also go recruit them at one of the special locations. So you can, to make them a little bit more thematic, you can also like talk to them. I don't know if players are actually going to do this, but if you have an item in your inventory, in between turns, it's free for you, no action cost, to just use items, right? So if you want to heal after combat and you have a heal item like this one, you can use the item. It will give you whatever its benefits are, and that's another thing you can do. There's also special, like rare items, as denoted by this kind of gold border around this one. Some special items have their whole unique action that just totally breaks the game and does something way different than any of the other ones. So this one actually opens up a whole encounter where it says like, oh, you're using this item, it's doing all these things, and then it gives you some decisions like, what do you want to do, right? And based on your decisions, it might give you more items, it might give you some stats, it might affect the game board in some way. And so there's just a lot of variation to items in the game and how they work. But yeah, we'll just equip some random ones. And typically you'll be going around, you'll be buying these items, you'll be let me show you the recruitment, I guess. So you recruit allies down here at the D-class dormitories. And so you recruit them from this lady here. So let's see. You can see the ones that are grayed out right here. If you click them, they're saying exactly why they're not going to join you, right? And I still need to work on this. I don't know why this recruit button is green. It should... Okay, cool. It doesn't let you buy it, but I should disable this button. But yeah, it basically says like, oh, this item says I need someone who can talk their way through situations. That's giving you a clue. I need to raise my charisma if I want to recruit this guy. So anyway, that's just like a little bit of theme, to add more depth to allies so they're not perceived as just like expendable cards, but like living people and sentient beings. You'll go around. There's the mission objective button here where you can see I've got my primary objectives. Currently, I need to go to the command center so I can start, completing this primary mission. And to do that, there's going to be 4 objectives. I can see 3 are locked. And the first one, if I click it, it'll hover this little icon on the map with a question mark showing me I need to go to the command center. Now, typically, there's not going to be necessarily this much stuff on the board. This is just kind of a demo of like a possible game state that you might be in. But yeah, so let's try to get to the command center. Since I have like basically infinite movement, I will just go all the way up there and end my turn. And when you end your turn, you have unique encounters. So it goes from the player phase to the encounter phase. And the game goes full screen to be more immersive and thematic. You can hide and unhide the narrative that's going on. So you can, if you like the background, you can check it out. And essentially, stuff is going to happen unique to that location, specific to the icons that are on the location. And if it's just a secondary location, there might be special, unique encounters there as well. But there's also generic ones that can like happen no matter where you are. So every game, you're not really sure what's going to happen, but if you go to certain places, it's more likely that certain things are going to happen. So now it's the anomaly phase, and that's where anomalies will spawn on the map based on how much entropy. Monsters, SCPs might move around the map. Oftentimes, they are going to target these locations, and they're going to try to end their movement on a location, just like the armory here, so that they can damage the integrity of it and cause a breach. So that's why you need to deal with anomalies early on before they turn into these SCPs and cause havoc around the facility. Then there'll be a entropy phase. That's the final phase of the game, and that's when the really bad stuff happens, typically. But that's usually only later in the game as the entropy keeps increasing. There are chances that the entropy phase is going to give you really bad stuff like entropy conditions and entropy objectives. So I can show you conditions now. So these can be obtained obviously through combat, through encounters, like maybe you need to like jump across something and you slip and fall. You might get a condition, right? So there's injury conditions and there's entropy conditions for the bad ones. And then there's augment conditions and there's provision conditions. So provisions are things that happen as a result of an item, typically, like you use a combat stim, and so you get 3 rounds of way increased agility and strength. Numbers subject to change. And augments are like it's a special thing where it's like it can affect numerous aspects of the game. This one is special because it actually affects the dice system in the game, and I'll show you that in a moment. But there's dice tests in the game because it's like an RPG, and you'll be able to mitigate the bad stuff from happening by having some of these augments. Like this one lets you re-roll 1 extra time if you don't like the result. Lacerations is you have -1 to your max health permanently until you get rid of it. And so there's just all kinds of these. These can happen as a result of the entropy phase as well. And then what else was I going to... Oh, this is your character, if that wasn't clear already. And there's going to be a few of these to choose from. They all start with a unique item, a unique dice that they roll. So all dice are the same, but this one is a 4. So for this character, if you roll a 4, you actually get an intel if you choose to accept that roll. And that's during any skill test in the game. And intel is a resource. It's just another resource that you use to do stuff around the facility. Sometimes it comes up in encounters. If you have an intel, you might be able to unlock a special dialogue option that you wouldn't be able to otherwise. So it can be used to do things around the facility. So there's a few uses for it. It's a very vital resource. And sometimes it's actually necessary to even complete certain objectives. So you kind of want to hold on to it. And then characters also have a special ability and a special starting location. So that kind of explains that. So now you see the objectives. You can see there's secondary and there's entropy. This is an example of some bad stuff that could happen, like I showed you earlier. And yeah, so you saw all the phases. You saw the characters, the conditions. Now let's look at combat, I guess. So when there's an SCP in a location with you, you lose the ability to do anything other than end your turn, sneak, or engage the SCP. So if you want to move and get away from it, you can try to sneak, and you're going to have, it might see you, it might not. It depends on your stats. I honestly forget exactly how I programmed it. I believe it's something to do with your agility and the SCP's observation skill. But I failed, so I'm forced into combat with SCP-106, the Old Man. So this is I'm not going to explain like all the SCPs. There's lore behind every single one of them. This guy is really tough, right? So 10 is the highest that you can go on any of these stats, and he's got a 10 for 2 of them. So you can see like he's a menace to deal with. Typically, combat will start with you knowing nothing about the SCP other than its stats and its rewards, right? So there's rewards for defeating it, which is 1,000 credits, and there's rewards for containing it, which for this guy, you would actually get 3 random items and entropy would go down if you manage to contain this guy. So it's a lot more rewarding to contain these things, but it's also way more difficult to contain them than to destroy them. And sometimes, oftentimes, it's better to just run away, right? Um, so as you fight these things, you're going to learn their traits. They're normally not visible. You normally don't even know what SCP it is, right? But because I maybe contained this guy in a previous run, now I can see him. There's also some other ways where you can reveal their information ahead of time, which I'll show you in a bit. So I'll just like go through a couple combat rounds with this guy. I'll show you, you can talk to them. So I talked to him. It says he hasn't moved in several minutes. His eyes are open but unfocused. Blah, 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 blah. And so what do I want to do? I'm going to check for containment integrity. And I look away, and when I look back, it hasn't moved, but the residue on the ground has changed. So I chose the wrong thing, and it backfired, and I actually became more stressed as a result. So wrong action there. I will go ahead and attack it so you can see some of the attack animations. So I attacked it, did 1 point of damage and 5 point of containment damage. So containment is basically vulnerability. This gauge up here, if you want to contain them, you got to get that gauge to 100%. Normally it starts off at 0, but because this guy started off with all of his traits revealed, it's going to start off at 50% to make it easier. So the game rewards you containing these guys in previous runs. In the next run, they'll actually be easier to contain, right? So I end my turn, and then he's going to either do a narrative attack, which is this one, or he's going to do a normal attack. So narrative attacks are basically just, it reads something and it actually gives you a choice. If you make the right decision, you might be able to mitigate some of the damage. You might be able to dodge it completely, or you might just take the full damage of the attack. So I'm just going to choose a random one. So I'm not going to make you guys read all this. So apparently I chose the right one. And he didn't attack me at all. So let's use an item on him. So I'm going to use these incendiary rounds, which will do pretty much guaranteed 5 damage to him and 1 containment vulnerability. So I did that, did a bunch of damage. That's cool. We'll try. Oh, I didn't mean to click defend. I don't want to like make you guys watch this whole thing, so I'm going to skip through. You get the point though. They can do narrative attacks. They can do normal attacks. Let me see if I can just beat this guy real quick, because I am pretty well equipped. We'll make Mr. Deeds attack him, see if that works. Nope, he dodged it. Hopefully the animations are also clear, like if it dodges, it dodges. So he's doing a normal attack now, so you'll get to see some of the effects in the game. That's the dodge animation. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it like moving the whole UI like that, but a lot of the animations, I wanted them to, you know, take up a lot of the screen and be really unique looking. So it looks like we're not going to be able to beat this guy, which is actually, you know, pretty much expected. So I'm going to end my turn, and I'm just going to run from him in a second. Let's see. So here's another example of an attack. These are some animations I really like. Let's run away from him. Let's get out of here. What is the right answer here? Let's leap over the drain and keep running. So this is an example of a dice test, right? So some of the decisions you make in a game at any point will open up this screen, which is the theme here. I still need to figure out like what I want to call them. I'm thinking of calling them the fate dice, but essentially the concept is these dice that you're rolling are actually anomalous objects that allow you to see different timelines and tap into the timeline that you want to go on. So when you roll them, if you get a 5 or a 6, it's a success. And if you get anything else, it's a fail, right? But you have different things you can do to mitigate that, which is this blood yield category here. So you can see I'm doing an agility test. I need 2 successes to pass. I have 27, so there's no chance of failure here pretty much. I get a bonus from my equipment. I get a bonus from the foundation if I have any SCPs contained, they might contribute to that. There's other things that can affect that as well. And then blood yield is, did I make a sacrifice to get more chance? So one of the sacrifices I can make is I can just straight up increase entropy by 5% to roll 2 more dice. So it's a pretty tough trade because entropy gets you closer to losing the game, but it's also giving you a chance to change your fate, right? And then clarity, you lose an intel to allow you to re-roll a 1. I also like the sound effects for this. I don't know if you guys are going to hear it, but yeah, let's go ahead and do the dice test. So I rolled a 1 and it re-rolled it. So you got to see everything there, which is cool. So normally you're not going to have 10 dice, obviously. I'm just overpowered right now, but and this is a miraculous result. Normally there would be some failures here. If you roll a 1, your dice gets locked as a failure. If you roll a 6, it gets locked as a success. And the reason dice get locked into these positions is because of re-rolls. So you can re-roll normally like 1 to 2 times. Probably just 1. I'll be balancing a lot of these stats as time goes on, but yeah, you can re-roll dice, and the ones that you've locked will not, they won't re-roll, right? So if there was another dice that I really wanted to stay locked, I can sacrifice credits to lock this 5 as a success. There's also this is probably my favorite one because it's just so thematic. It's like, what are you willing to sacrifice to win this situation? Like, how desperate are you? One of the things you can do is you can just straight up sacrifice one of your allies to guarantee a success. And so it will choose a random ally that you have, and they're gone, and it says their sacrifice is not forgotten, and now you have a guaranteed success. So I'll just show you the re-rolling just for fun. Looks like we got a couple failures there. We got 4 failures. So the cool thing about failures are they're not going to count against you. They're just going to like lock into place sometimes and prevent you from getting success, right? So, and you can unlock them, right? You can pay to unlock a dice. You can pay for extra re-rolls. So there's many different things you can do, and then you accept your good or bad fate based on the results. So I really wanted the player to feel like they had control over outcomes. So yeah, guaranteed escape because I passed that test, and now I can move. And you can see that some of the locations are now marked in red, and others are in green. So even though I could travel to these locations, there's a problem, right? I can't go over here because there's a lockdown in this area that's not going to go away for 2 rounds. That's another bad thing that can happen in the game. Some areas will be sealed and shut down for a set number of turns to prevent anything from passing through them, including you. SCPs will also block your path. You can't go through them unless you end your turn there and then successfully sneak past them. So that about explains everything with the map. I think I have one more feature that I would like to show you, and that's gonna be, well, I guess I could show you like some of the cool animations. So another cool thing you can do, here's your contained SCPs that I was telling you about earlier. If you destroy them while they're in here, they will give you a bunch of bonuses. But if you don't destroy them, you're gonna get +1 towards any of these traits in a SCP encounter. So if you find another SCP that has any of these 4 traits, you're going to be more powerful against it as a result of this guy being in containment. You can also build more cells, which triggers a cool little animation. And essentially you're just paying a ton of money to have another containment cell. And there's a few reasons why you might want to do this. One, you're getting more powerful and you're doing more damage to all these SCPs with these traits. So if you have 4 contained SCPs and they share a trait, any other SCP you see with that trait, you're going to have a serious advantage over. And then also in future runs, when you open this SCP database, which is another feature of the game, and you click the contained tab, let's see. trying to think here. So these are all the SCPs that have ever been contained. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, is that going to confuse the player? But yeah, anyway, the point of it is your database says, have you encountered this SCP before? Have you contained them before? And if you've contained them, you get full information on them. You know everything about them. And then next time you see them in a future game, you know everything. Whereas the ones that you've only encountered, like maybe you had combat with them, you're not going to know anything, right? The whole section is all redacted. Even their ID is redacted, so you can't even look them up online unless you're a really good guesser. And you don't even know their traits. Traits are super, super important if you haven't gathered that already, because, like, for example, if there's a SCP like this Shadow, right, and you try to use a gun on it, gun really isn't going to do much against a shadow. It's like an ethereal thing, right? You're probably going to need a different type of equipment that's more suited for something like that. So traits are super important. You can actually pay up front if they're, like, for example, this tab will show you all the SCPs that are currently in the facility, right? And if I click view threat, it will, take you to the map and it'll light them up so you can see, oh, that's where that one is. And then if you click them from here, it'll take you back to the database. So you can see, like, okay, I've got SCP-096 here. He's active, but I've contained him before, so I'll have an advantage against this one, but I don't really know much about this one, so he might be a threat. And so maybe I want to spend some intel and reveal some information about him up front, right? And then I can equip the items that are going to be best against that particular SCP. And to give you like a clue so you'll know, these traits will light up green if you have items in your inventory that match those traits, right? So hostile and humanoid, for example, pretty much all of them are going to be green when I'm showing you guys this, because I have every item in the game in my inventory. So there's no chance that they're not going to be green, but normally they're all white. And some of them will be green, and you'll know, oh, if I equip that item, I'll actually be able to do more damage against this guy. So there's like that management aspect of what do I equip, who do I fight, what do I investigate, and then a progression system of I've contained these guys, and now next game I might have a better chance of survival because I know all this information about them, and I do more damage and containment against them. So other than that, yeah, you want to complete your objectives. One of the things you can do is you can travel if you go to the exit, which is another cool little thing I want to show you guys. I think we're getting close to the end here. Thanks so much for bearing with me. I know this is a ton of information to process all at once, and I have a tendency to ramble. So if you've made it this far, I really appreciate you listening and getting any feedback for me that you have on all these different systems that you've seen. If there's anything that's like confusing or seems pointless or like boring, please let me know, because it's super vital feedback. Even if it's brutal, I need brutal feedback. I don't need like friendly feedback. So anything that you think is like, that seems weird, confusing, boring, whatever, let me know. So I'm just going to show you travel, and that's the last thing. Travel is kind of cool in the game because I didn't want to limit players to only being able to explore the facility. There's 29 locations in the facility. They all have unique backgrounds, both for the normal background, and if there's an SCP in the area, they have a different background, and they're all animated and kind of move around and stuff. Let me just make sure you guys can actually see this. Yeah, cool. So we're going to choose this mission. Oh, by the way, yeah, I glossed over NPCs. That was another thing. So NPCs, like this guy, you can talk to them, obviously. They could give you objectives. They have all kinds of different like depth for the game. So and it's basically a free action, at least right now. I don't know if I'll make it cost something to talk to them. I feel like I won't. But yeah, if you talk to them, it's two purposes. One, it's kind of immersing you in this world. You're getting to know all the characters. And two, they might give you side objectives that will give you powerful items or help you do things in the game. Like this guy, he gives you a objective where if you go to the containment chambers, he will give you some equipment, and he'll give you some money. He'll give you 500 credits. Entropy will go down 10%. So some of these are like, oh shit, my entropy is at like 80%. I better stop doing the main mission and run to the containment chambers and do this, because then I'll get some money and I'll get this powerful item and reduce the entropy, right? And the cool thing about NPCs is that they actually move around the map every anomaly phase. So there's a chance that these different locations will have one or two NPCs in them at any point. And there's just a ton. Like I said, there's 29 locations in the game. There's a bunch of secondary locations like these, and there's the primary locations. So anyway, let's say I have an objective that takes me out of the facility. This lets me do things that I was really excited for with the game. One of my favorite SCPs is called the Infinite IKEA Store. It's not this particular mission, but how are they going to go see that if they're at the facility the whole game? So I came up with this concept of travel, where you go to the exit location, and one of the special actions there is you can fly a plane to different locations that will become available throughout the game, either as side quests or primary objectives. And if you fly there, it plays this really cool animation, in my opinion. And then you can just, you're basically just doing the stuff you would be doing at the facility, but now you're in a different location, and it makes more thematic sense. And it also costs an action to fly there and an action to fly back. So it's a little bit of a expensive thing that could pay off greatly if you complete a scenario objective, or if you do a side objective that, has a good payoff. So cool little animation that makes the exit come alive. Let me know if you think any of these things look like AI slop, as everybody's calling it, because obviously I heavily leveraged AI image generation to generate a lot of these things that you're seeing, and then I applied numerous effects and tweaks and kind of edits to make the images more my own and fit into this world. Also, let me know if you feel like any of the effects, like this kind of maybe these scan lines are too much, or maybe they're too thick. Any sort of things you see like that you have opinions on, let me know. But yeah, so I flew to the abandoned Siberian village. This is a core mission in the game. This one has quite a lengthy investigation sequence to it. I'm not sure if I might shorten it. I don't know how long I want these to be, but basically you explore this village and you get down to this giant fleshy growth thing. There's actually a pretty sick animation of it kind of like coming alive when you get to the point in the mission where you can like actually do something to it. But when you're investigating, it will open up this UI. For certain investigations, you'll get this radar in the top left to kind of show you where are you in the world, because I don't want to animate and like create backgrounds, multiple backgrounds for every single investigation. So I'm going to use this radar for a lot of them, and it'll be like, oh, you're here, and now you just moved up there, and you're further in, and stuff is happening, and here's what the environment's like. This one changed the background because it's a core mission, so I wanted to go all out on this one, but not all of them are going to do that. So now you're closer to the tumor, and you can see it's like, damn, this is pretty fucking nasty. What's this thing doing in this village? Blah, 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 blah. I think there's a little bit of lag going on. I'll have to check, and there's a couple little issues. But yeah, you can look for survivors, and you do these things. It'll take you into a room where there's this old man who's kind of just sitting there accepting his fate, and you talk to him, and he tells you what happened to the village. You get stressed out listening to his story. You're getting more details. And eventually, once you do enough of this exploration, by clicking these different dialogue options, you will unlock the ability. So first off, I completed an objective, as you can see in the bottom right. You will also be able to unlock new dialogue options. So you go back to the center, and it's giving you some more of the same options. So I'll do a second one. So I'll go over to this thing that I saw, and I will decipher it. I needed to spend an intel to do that action, so I wouldn't have been able to do it if I didn't have intel. And now that I have investigated enough, it's going to give me the ability to confront the infection source. So we got this. Oh shit, I forgot. I gotta fix the radar. It's not supposed to display for this. But yeah, so now, it really comes alive with this grotesque animation. And it's like, okay, are we going to burn this thing alive? Are we going to, like, um, use some sort of technology on it? What are we doing? And it looks like I still need to do some more work on this mission because it seems to have crashed, of course. But yeah, I mean, I think that basically summarizes it. Let me show you one final thing, and that's when the game ends. So if you die or you manage to fight through all these anomalies, SCPs, the chaos in the facility, and you manage to complete all of the objectives and beat the final monster, then you're gonna get a lot of points towards unlocking new things, right? Either way, you're gonna get some points. So here's what happens, right? You die and it says I was killed in action because I lost too much health. I was playing the flesh plague scenario. I completed these missions or objectives, and I get some rewards because I contained some things. I killed some SCPs. I did some missions, discovered some stuff, whatever it is, and then you get some points just for the items that you had and the things that you had left over. And then it tells you, here's all the SCPs you saw, and here's the ones you contained, and here's the ones you destroyed. And they all contribute to those points as well. And then it takes you back. I don't know why this just got smaller. It takes you back to the main menu. And in the main menu, you can see you have clearance points at the top right, and you have some scenarios, obviously placeholder art. And as you play the game, you will get these other scenarios, and you'll need to spend those clearance points to unlock new scenarios. And the scenario, like I said, like the Flesh Plague, you're just going to get all those missions are going to be totally unique to that scenario, all the primary missions of the game. All kinds of other, like, encounters and anomalies and SCPs and entropy events, all that stuff is going to be totally different every single game. But the missions that you will see will be generally similar. They'll be generally similar for the scenario, specific to the scenario. So this scenario will have things related to that monster. This one will have things related to that one. And they're basically just like cataclysmic things you want to stop from happening. And then, of course, there's also a personnel section where you can go and you can unlock some new characters. These are not the final characters of the game. It's just kind of like a demo that I set up so I could figure this stuff out. But yeah, you'll get different characters. They'll have different stats. They'll have different starting items, different starting dice effects, and different special abilities. And this is your operations log, which will tell you all the different runs that you played, how much clearance you got, who you were playing as, etc. And this settings menu doesn't really do anything. But yeah, and then you begin your assessment, and it takes you into the game world. I'm definitely gonna have to create a tutorial at some point. Um, but yeah, I think that about summarizes it. Is there anything else that I left off? So obviously, I didn't cover all the special actions at all these locations. Um, and investigation is what you saw already when we left. Investigation will always look the same in terms of like how the UI works. So if you go to a location with an anomaly, you can investigate, and then it's just gonna go full screen, so it's more immersive. This is the research and development bay. You can see there's like some stuff floating around in there, moving around. And then you just, you do your little text-based adventure. So the game obviously has a lot of reading in it, but I wanted to make meaningful decisions are just going to be everywhere, constantly making decisions, and moral dilemmas like, do I sacrifice this innocent guy's life to save, three people or whatever? And do I want to seal the corridor and like not have access to this area? There's just like tons of different decisions you're going to make, tons of different SCPs. So it's going to be different every time you play it. Let me know what you think. I think that that must cover it all. I'm sure I forgot something. I don't think so. I think we got it all. That's SCP Dead Letter. Thanks for watching. Please give me feedback. Let me know what you thought the coolest parts are. That's super important. I need to know, like, what did you think was worthy of being highlighted on the Steam page? Like, what of those things that you saw should be like front and center when I'm marketing this game? And what do you think looked the coolest? And was there anything that you thought was confusing besides like me explaining it? Did anything seem confusing in the UI? What did you think of the design? Stuff like that. And then I'll take that feedback. I'll work on the marketing copy. I'm going to get the Steam page out as fast as possible after I create. So I'm going to take your feedback and I'm going to make videos highlighting all of these things and using the marketing copy. I think I can actually show you the. I'm not gonna like make you read the marketing copy, but there is. Yeah, so on Facebook, I'm gonna put it in the Discord as well. But there's gonna be this marketing copy on the Steam page, and I need to figure out like what of these things do I need to highlight that you just saw, and what order should I display them, and what are the cool little quotes that I should put. So I did my best to write a bunch of like all the best quotes I could think of. I put right here. And then I have like a more comprehensive section for people who really want to, like, this is basically going to be like almost a rule book for the game. Probably nobody's going to look at this, but if anybody wants to go deep on the game, I'm going to have images for each one of these sections, and it's going to explain every part of the game in detail so that they're not going to be like overwhelmed or confused. They can consult this both to figure out if they want to buy the game, and also to figure out like how does this stuff work, right? What are all these different things that I can do, and how does this work? But yeah, and this is the website, dark mode, light mode. Oh yeah, sorry, I should have said flashbang warning. Here's the logo. I got my cool little liminal foundation animation thing that I created here. Um, yeah. Anyway, thank you very much for your time. See ya.